Welcome everyone to another story from Chazal. This story is going to be from a medrash Rabba. It's a medrash in Rabba on parshas tzav. The source of it is in parsha tes ois gimel. And I believe this is the only source that this story is found. It's a medrash over there. And the story goes as follows. There was a story with Rabba Yanai. Now Rabba Yanai it's not clear which Rabba Yanai this is. It doesn't give any reference to who was his father, etc. But there are 3 or 4 possibilities who Rabba Yanai historically might have been. So if you would like to know exactly who he is and get some idea, it's not clear who this specific one is, but you can get an idea in general, the different types of different Rabba Yanais. You could look in the seif called Torah in the section, and it's the second portion of the Torah. It's a section which is on the person Rabba Yanai, and he gives different possibilities who the Rabba Yanais are historically. So you can go check over there. But we'll continue with the story. So there's a story with Rabba Yanai. It was as follows: that he was going once, he was walking on the path, and he saw a person, and the wording that the medrash uses to describe this person looked is he was mishupa b'yoser. He was very mishupa. What does that mean? So I'm going to use the commentary called the Torah. He is one of the more prominent commentaries on medrash Rabba, and he translates this in 2 different ways. The first way, he says that he had very beautiful clothing for respectable Talmidei Chachamim, and the other version he gives is that his steps were very calculated, like a Talmid Chacham's steps. So those are 2 possibilities he translates. But his point, either or, the point is that basically he walked or dressed in a way that you could basically identify a Talmid Chacham. It's a certain fact that Talmid Chachamim, I guess, stick out in. So he told this person who he assumed was a Talmid Chacham, he said, can you, he referred to him as Rebbe, can you please come and eat by me, be my guest? So this person responded, yes, I can. So he brought him to his house, he gave him to eat, he gave him to drink, and he started to try to get into conversation with him in Torah. And the way the wording, the way medrash is written is that he first started quizzing him, so to speak, on things in the Mikra, in the text, the Jewish text of the Torah. And he said, and the medrash says that he couldn't find anything, meaning this guy didn't seem to know about it. He asked him about the Mishnah, another, right? These were a little more complex texts, and that he couldn't find either. Agada means more the understanding of a little more of the esoteric things in Torah, things that are more allegoric, things that are a little more entertaining, if you will. He couldn't find that either. The Talmud, he tried to ask him with. The concepts of Talmud. Talmud means the little more in-depth in Torah. Couldn't find that either. Now the Torah says that it makes sense that the Seder, the order, should have been all the way around. That first, you ask the more complicated things, and then it makes sense that if you don't find that, you'll go to the less complicated and see if he has any of those capabilities or knowledge in. Not starting from Torah. If he has no knowledge in that, then keep asking more complicated things. Because it would seem, if he doesn't even know Torah, even the basics of which even children know, you'd think he would give up on the next stage. So that's his take on it. Okay, so this is the point where he was at. He's sort of stuck. So he's like, you know what? It's the end of the meal. He told them, I want you to bench the Birchas Hamazon, because basically there's a Gemara in Brachis. The Gemara in Brachis is on Daf Mem Vav Mebev, and it's actually about the halacha as well, that the halacha is the guest is the one who should, so to speak, bench, mevorich, bless the household with his benching in the zimun, as respect to the echsanya, to the host. So he asked him to do that, and he told them Yanai should do it, implying that he couldn't do that either. So he said, could you at least, that's what he tells him, so could you at least, if I are saying benching, could at least repeat after me? Even that could you do? So he told them, yeah, that I can do. So he told them, Rabbi Yanai told this person, this is the way the Torah is translating it, he told them, people are going to say, or you could say about this scenario of mine that we're going through, Kalba Pistia de Yanai. In which other words, the way the Torah translates to mean is that Yanai ate together with a dog. Quite a dramatic thing to say. So the way the Torah understands the next part of the story is that this guy, this person who Yanai just called a dog, so to speak, he got up, he grabbed Rabbi Yanai, and he told him like this. He's told him, my inheritance is by you, and you are withholding me from my inheritance. He made this very powerful statement to Yanai. Yanai asked, what are you referring to? What inheritance do I have by that I'm withholding from you? So he told him, it happened once that I was walking by a base sifra, a place where the scholars were studying. And I heard a base sifra, or sifra could be the place of the seif, the place of studying of the book, where people study. Could have been children as well, like we'll see soon. So he said, and I heard the sound of the children saying a certain pasuk. This is a pasuk in the beginning of the parshas B'zois HaBracha that Moshe is saying over. And the pasuk that he heard was Torah tziva lanu Moshe moirashe kihilas Yaakov. So he says, this pasuk that I heard, this is, I guess, one of the very few psukim he even remembered or knew. And he said, this is, it doesn't say in the pasuk moirashe kihilas Yanai. It's the inheritance of the congregation of Yanai. It doesn't say that. It says kihilas Yaakov, the congregation of Yaakov. So, in other words, he was saying that you are withholding this Yerusha from me, my heritage, which is Torah. Yeah, I mean, so to speak, Yanai was calling him a dog. He's saying, I'm not a dog. I have the Yerusha of Torah, just like you. Don't differentiate from me and you. So, Yanai had a question for him. He said, okay, he accepted that. And he said, I have one question I don't understand. He says, at least maybe you could, he saw everything as a shkacha pratis, and he wanted to understand, okay, how come you were zeiche to eat on my table, to eat with me? I want to understand, everything's a shkacha pratis. I want to see, obviously you have some schusim, something important about you that I can't let go to waste. I want to seize this opportunity and learn something from you. So he told him, this person responded, he said, all my life, if I ever heard someone told me something bad to me that would make me feel bad, he said, I never responded to that person. I never rebuked him for it, etc., etc. I accepted it. That's one thing that I did. He said, another thing that I did is, he says, I never saw two people that argued with each other that I did not try to create peace between them. That was another thing. And the first one, evidently, what he's referring to as well is he never said Lashon Hara. It seems that's one of the Pirushim. That's how some people want to explain, but the Yefei Torah doesn't learn that way. He says the first one was that basically he did not respond if people told him something bad. He didn't rebuke them, etc. He was he took it as in a very humble way. So Yanai, after hearing this, Rabbi Yanai, he says, you have such derech eretz, and I refer to you as a dog. He felt very bad about it. So Rabbi Yanai read the pasuk, which I guess he realized that this could be referring to what the pasuk meant. It says the pasuk in Tehillim. It's a pasuk in Kapitel Nun in Tehillim, and it is over there in pasuk Chav Gimel. And actually, the medrash that brings this story brings a connection to this pasuk. The pasuk says, it's the end of the Kapitel Nun. It says, "Zeiveach toida yechabdoneni." The little translation is Zeiveach, someone who slaughters. Toida could mean thanks, praise, admission, even it could mean. So someone who slaughters admission, this is the little translation, Yechabdoneni, that will respect me, it's referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it brings respect towards me. There are different explanations of what that means exactly. We're only going to discuss one that Rabbi Yanai brought in the next part of the pasuk. V'sam derech, and who puts a path, ar'enu b'yesh Elokim, I will show him the salvation of God, of Hashem. So Yanai said this part of the pasuk which says, "V'sam derech," who put a path. He says this actually applies here to this person. Some derech could mean the way he translates the shoyim orche, someone who calculates his path, calculates his ways. So he says such a person that calculates his ways. The pasuk says, "Arenu b'yesh Elokim," I will show him the salvation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says evidently someone who calculates his path is someone who's great. He's worth a lot. So this person, he calculated his paths. There are certain things he was very careful with, right? In other words, he was careful with not responding, meaning that's very calculated. He didn't just have a knee-jerk reaction, right, which is very natural. Rather, he was very calculated in that aspect. And also, in regards to, if you see people fighting, he tried to make sure to make peace with them. That's not an easy thing to do. That requires real calculation, real structure, real strategy. So it says Rabbi Yanai was very astounded by this person. He said, this person is a very calculated person. About him, it says the pasuk, V'sham arche, he calculated his paths, and he will see great salvation. So this is a great lesson to all of us, that every person who has medrash Kilas Yaakov is included in this, which includes to every Jew really. He has this ability to calculate his path. He has ability to, everything that in his life, he has a capability to choose and even be unique in some areas. To the extent that, this is something Rabbi Yanai was, quite astounded by. And he had the schus to even eat Rabbi Yanai's table. He has schus to eat with Talmidei Chachamim. With one of the big Talmidei Chachamim of his days, Rabbi Yanai was a very important person. You go look over there and see Rabbi Yanai, you'll see how unique he was. So everybody should learn for themselves, apply to themselves, to any area in Torah. If you choose for yourself something, whatever it might be, a mitzvah or Torah, something unique that you possess and you have a connection to. This is your medrash Kilas Yaakov. Have a great day.